Matt's got it. He's okay.
Not working? It's on now, because I pressed push. Is it on now?
It is.
I pressed push. It wasn't on. I was just calling you. Good morning, everyone. If we could come in and start to settle, that would be lovely. Good morning. Thank you. Welcome to our first full day together. We begin today with Pamela Begeman. Pamela has practiced centering prayer for 27 years, is a commissioned presenter of centering prayer and welcoming prayer, a volunteer and retreat leader for her local Central Texas chapter, and she's been on staff for 20 years. We're blessed to have her with us here today, and I'm grateful that she's my colleague and friend. Please make welcome Pamela Begeman.
Let's test the volume. How's the volume? Can you hear me? If I project. Matt, can you help that at all? Is that better? Buenos dias. Oh Lord, presence, be everything. Open my lips so that my mouth may proclaim your praise. Amen. Let's begin with the practice of the welcoming prayer. So I invite you to settle into your body, to feel and sink into what you are experiencing this moment in your body. A flutter of excitement, fatigue, pain, tension, warmth. Whatever it is, feel and sink into what you are experiencing this moment in your body. Welcome. Welcome the experience of the indwelling presence in what you are experiencing. Welcome the opportunity to consent to the divine indwelling. Welcome. God is with me. Welcome. And interiorly affirm, I let go of my desire for security, affection, control, and embrace this moment as it is. I let go of my desire for security, affection, control, and embrace this moment as it is. I am here now. God is here now. I embrace this moment as it is. Amen. This morning, I received a text from a friend who's in Bolivia. She's a Christian Buddhist centering prayer practitioner. She's trying to start her life all over. She's having great difficulty. So I've been praying with her, and she sent me this message, which I want to share with all of you, because it's very important to her that we're here now doing what we're doing. She said, I think there is just mega confusion in the world right now, and the non-centered ones are being even more erratic. I'm glad to know all you centered folks are gathering to create a strong grounding in this global storm. I'm plugging my being into your conference. I've had a strong yearning again to be in the monastery, almost unbearable. And I translate that as a yearning to double down on grounding into my Christ center. And I replied to her, exactly, it's not about place, it's about state. It's about the state of being. So she is with us now. Like she is literally grounding herself in what's happening here. So I invite you in this moment to think of someone else who is having difficulty, experiencing distress or illness, and just send them in your being light. Just visualize that light going from your heart to theirs. Because it does. Because it does. and invite them into this space with us, because it will make a difference to them. One of my teachers said that every night before he went to bed, he would think of someone in distress, someone suffering, and he would send light. And then after that, he would think about an animal suffering, and he would send the animal light. And he knew that that energy that he was sending allowed them to take just one more step to do what they needed to do. That's how powerful this indwelling presence is. And this is our work. I'm guessing that you're here exactly for this theological principle, to further the knowledge and the experience of God's love and the consciousness of the human family. That's why I'm here. I don't like to be up in front of people, but that's why I'm up in front of people. Because it needs to be embodied. It needs to be shared. It needs to be grounded in human beings in ordinary life. So I'm just so grateful. So grateful for all of you and what you are and what you do to bring the knowledge and experience of God's love into the human family. So the aim for what I was going to say, which was none of what I just said, was to tell a story. And the problem is it's an evolving story. So the minute that I begin to tell it, it's out of date. It doesn't include what just happened or is happening. So please keep that in mind as this story is told, and know that you all could be up here telling this story. But part of what I'm hoping to do is that each of you have a story and experience in your practice, in your spiritual journey, in your prayer group, in whatever communities that you're a part of. You each have a story about what's happening. I don't know those stories, but hopefully what happens here is we get to share our stories. We get to learn from one another, and we get to support one another in this being work. And it's really the story of we. Although there'll be specific examples given, this is the story of we. We had a board and staff meeting before this meeting, and we were calling ourselves the we. Because the we just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And part of what I want to share today is how big we are. And you may not be able to see it or know it or feel it in your own local area. So this is borrowed, this next little exercise in consciousness is borrowed from Ilia Delio, who is a Franciscan nun, theologian, scholar of Teilhard de Chardin. And this is about setting context, about placing ourselves in the whole. So she does this exercise called A Day in the Life of the Universe. So this is 15 billion years put in the context of one day. January 1st, the Big Bang. 5 months later, the Milky Way takes shape. September 9th, the solar system. Earth was formed, and you can see that things are happening a little quicker. Life began. We have the first hominids. In the last 10 seconds of the year, we have Homo sapiens. We have the birth of Jesus. Changed everything. The modern world, modern culture begins to arise. Civilization. Modern humans. Although we know from Thomas's teaching, still not at the level of rational consciousness, nor are we today. And at the very, very last second, contemplative outreach is born. We're just a baby. We're just like a little spark in God's eye. We're just beginning. And yet so much has happened. So if we go forward, if the next second ticks and it's January 1st, we're at a new axial age. We're at the next 40 years and 100 years and 500 years, and it's accelerating, just like what this shows. The evolution is accelerating because more and more of us are participating. More and more of us are going deeper and deeper into healing and wholeness and love no matter what. So I hope this is hopeful. And I hope it also just relativizes everything that we do, not to get too caught up in the details. Every day is a new day and we begin again. So one of my main messages that I hope that you feel today is the Centering Prayer community is so much bigger than we'll ever know, because most practitioners aren't connected to contemplative outreach, or they're not connected to a prayer group. They're sitting home alone because they have to and they want to. And they don't know about this community. So it's so much bigger. And I love that. And the Centering Prayer community is small and intimate and local. One by one, two by two, we create the ark that will transform the world. So we have a presenter training with Sister Angela from Zambia. We have a retreat in Alberta, Canada. We have a Hungarian introductory workshop. And notice all of those things are the basic things we do, right? Those are the basic things: presenter training, retreats, introductory workshops, and then our practice. And there are groups of people doing this all over the world in small groups. And so we hold the two together. We're bigger than we know, and we're small, and we're local, and we're intimate. At the back of Open Mind and Open Heart are 42 guidelines for Christian life, growth, and transformation. And number 25 says, the spiritual radiation of a community depends on the commitment of its members to the transformational journey and to each other. To offer one another space in which to grow as persons is an integral part of this commitment. So that's why you're all here. I know it, because you're committed to that. You're committed to the journey, and you're committed to providing a space for others to grow. And isn't that what it's all about? It's not doing anything or saying anything. It's just providing the space and welcoming people into that space. These pictures of the galaxy, I just think are absolutely stunning. And I hope they touch you as they do me. So Isaiah said, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" So it's easy to look at what's wrong. And it's easy to miss what's evolving and what's changing and what's new and what's growing and what's good. See it, affirm it. Your presence, you're seeing it, affirms it. Ilya also said, God is the newest thing there is. God is the newest thing there is. I love that. And in my centering prayer practice, that's how I feel every day. I don't know who it is that, who I am a lot of days when I show up, and God's right there with me and we're walking it together. God is the newest thing there is. And that's what we're about. Inviting people into that journey of discovery, of transformation, and nobody knows where it's going. Our first guideline for service, contemplative outreach as a community, is designed to share centering prayer and its contemplative vision as widely as possible. The whole universe, as widely as possible. So part of what's going to follow here is how that widely as possible is starting to look. And there's going to be some numbers. Don't get caught on the numbers. Stay in your right brain, stay in your heart. It's not about the numbers. The numbers are just to be like this image of the galaxy, to show you that the community is growing. We're in a tractor field, and people are being attracted to this field. So the website. The website is one of our biggest faces, if you will, to the global community. It gets almost 200,000 visitors from 175 countries. 81,000 people take some action. 150,000 resources downloaded. And the most popular downloads are the Centering Prayer brochure and the Lectio Divina brochure, the basics. So we all walk around and do this, but the website is doing this for this material. And 52% of the people that come access it via mobile devices. And that's not how it used to be. It used to be exactly like, 10%. And so we're meeting people where they are, where it's accessible, where they are. They may not have a computer, but they may have a phone. And they can learn more about this practice. And the other thing is we have auto translation options for 16 languages. Imperfect, but it's there. And I can't tell you, out of the 1,200 inquiries that we get a year, there are so many from other parts of the world. It's pretty incredible. These are hungry people. The Centering Prayer mobile app, 10 years old. And when this idea was first presented, there was some resistance to this. Because change is hard, especially when it's such a personal, relational, intimate way of sharing the prayer. Change is hard. But we've gone forward with it. And in any given year, there's 46,000 downloads of the Centering Prayer app, which has the 4 guidelines, and it had prayers. And it means I can sit anywhere. I can go anywhere and sit. I sit on planes all the time with my app, my Bluetooth headset. I can hear the gong, and I sit. There's over 29,000 users praying with the app every month. We have English, Spanish, and French versions of the app. Portuguese, Korean, and Icelandic versions are coming. And more. I've had Russian contacts wanting to translate the app, Italian, and it's just a matter of time, money, and translators. So this app is a way that people learn about the prayer by downloading an app on the App Store. And it reaches a younger audience. When I started the prayer, I was younger than this. I was almost 30 years younger than this. But it reaches a younger audience of people. It reaches people where they are. And that's really a message across a lot of these places. Meditation Chapel. I'm on the board and the executive committee of Meditation Chapel, which began as an experimental partnership. A gentleman who was at the time living in Guatemala had started this Zoom chapel before the pandemic, before Zoom was a thing, because he really believed that community could be bigger and come together in a different way. So we started a little group of us, which included French and Spanish speakers, and we learned how to facilitate a prayer group on Zoom in 2018. And in June of that year, we launched with, I think, 6 centering prayer groups on Meditation Chapel, including the first Spanish group that Isabel Castellanos hosted. So the vision of Meditation Chapel is that it offers an online space for every human being to be transformed through divine stillness, sacred sharing, and holy listening. So it's a beautiful partnership. It's both a partner and a subset of our community. There's currently over 8,000 registered members and 140 prayer groups, which tripled, by the way, as soon as the pandemic started, representing 7 languages. And about 2/3 of all the people that belong to Meditation Chapel are centering prayer practitioners. And then there's other practices that are welcome, Buddhist practices, the World Community for Christian Meditation, and all are welcome to sit in silence together. And Father Thomas wanted something like this to happen, but it never quite really got off the ground. And Meditation Chapel has been the way to enable this interspiritual, ecumenical way, practice agnostic of sitting together. It's completely free and self-organizing. And its further mission is to support groups of all meditation and prayer traditions in sharing the contemplative experience through the sacramental use of technology. Each self-organizing group is empowered to experiment and evolve, and all are welcome to join, practice, participate, co-create, and grow. So nobody's in charge. People just decide they want to start a group, and they start a group. The only requirement is a minimum of 20 minutes of silence. So let's move from the macrocosm to the microcosm, from the bigger than we know to the local and the intimate. There's 3 prayer groups in Honduras. There's a 9-person prayer group in the Bahamas. There are 12 groups in Trinidad and Tobago. Multiple Swedish groups, including on Meditation Chapel. There's an 18-person group in Southwest Australia. A group of 20 in Bristol, England. A vibrant community in Iceland. 4 groups in Austria and Germany, and a chapter that formed this spring. Yay. And 3 groups in the Czech Republic and Slovakia. And during the break, during this conference, Wiltrude, I thank her for this information, has put together a PowerPoint which goes into more detail and also gives more, covers more groups that are happening. So do take some time during the breaks to just pay attention to what will be just looping during that time. But it's all one thing moving to one thing, and just different expressions, different diverse expressions moving to one thing. The podcast. I had a woman from India write in yesterday asking when season 3 of the podcast would be. From India. How cool is that? So the podcast, again, meeting people where they are. So the podcast is not only on streaming on various podcast platforms, but it's also available on YouTube, which is why when I'm giving figures for season 1 and 2 episode downloads and views, it's because people are also viewing it on YouTube. So 59,000 people have either viewed or downloaded a podcast for season 1 and 2. And this is, we're just getting started with this. In the last 30 days, 1,400 people have downloaded or viewed one of the episodes of the podcast. And our first season 1 has the most listenership with almost 7,000 people. And of course, this is attracting a younger audience. So this is an experiment. It's not like we know what's going to happen, but we know where people are. We know where people are getting both information, inspiration, and this is an experiment in bringing Christian contemplation to a wider audience and Christian practice. YouTube is interesting in that it feels to me like it's the place where the most new people find us. It's fast growing in terms of how people come across the teachings of Thomas Keating, and they watch a bunch of videos, and then they decide they're ready for a centering prayer practice. And then they send us an email or fill out a form on the website. We have 32,000 subscribers on YouTube. And thanks to Ray Mueller, we have 993 videos. Free content, free ways of going deeper in the spiritual journey. The whole spiritual journey series is there. And it's been our aim with Ray's help to keep digitizing all the resources to make them freely available on YouTube. And people are finding it. I mean, these are more subscribers than we have in our email database. 55 public playlists. So in other words, that's like a curriculum. And in fact, when I hear from people who don't have any resources or groups near them and they want to learn centering prayer, I send them to the playlist with the introductory workshop. So they can watch the entire introductory workshop and learn centering prayer. And the thing about YouTube is the auto translation is fabulous. And Ray has been working to make sure that every video has an English translation so that when YouTube translates a video, that the translation is as accurate as it can be. We get between 70 and 85,000 views per month. People are hungry. Over 1 million views in 2023. And the top 20 countries, so read that list. It's so heartening to me. It's so heartening. And again, almost 30% is a younger audience. So YouTube is a ministry. YouTube is a ministry. And local again. In the Philippines, there's 14 centering prayer groups who meet regularly, both in person and on Zoom. Local, intimate, community support. I asked the 12-step group to give me their numbers, and these just blew me away. Just blew me away. They've hosted 14,000, and that I checked that number. 14,300 daily or weekly centering prayer groups or meetings since 2018. Pretty friggin' amazing. They've engaged with individuals from 21 different countries, and notice the countries are a little bit different than the list you just saw. Thailand is on this list. Israel is on this list. So again, different avenues to allow different people from different places to have an on-ramp, to find their people. I want to know where my people are that I can go deeper with. Their first online Zoom event during the pandemic had 850 people registered for a 2.5-day event. And there's a 5-month introductory centering prayer workshop that's ending this September that has 279 people registered. Centering prayer is being spread as widely as possible. It's happening. Oops. I think we can all say that we realized that Zoom was a gift from the Holy Spirit during the pandemic, and it forced us into evolving the United in Prayer Day. So it actually was a United in Prayer Day where multiple countries in multiple languages came together over a 23 or 24-hour period and prayed together, like really together. And some people stayed on the whole time and had a retreat. It's amazing. This is what people said. It's around Father Thomas's birthday. Somebody said, best birthday party ever. That's what a contemplative would say. Best birthday party ever. Someone else said, please know that these 23 hours have not ended here. The energy of silence will continue deep into every particle of creation and into the heart of all humanity, illuminating and healing. That's somebody who knows the physics of contemplation. Will continue deep into every particle of creation. Somebody else said, thank you for this enlightening gathering of prayer from all around the world. Our persistence and diligence of one-mindedness can create a world where even when we disagree, we can find a common space to allow each other's differences to be heard and respected. over the last months in the monthly news bulletin, the question has been asked, the gift of centering prayer for me is, and people have been invited to share their one sentence response. So I'd like to share with you some of what people have sent in. Freedom from striving. My compass that always points to God. Connecting to the supreme source of all my longing. A place to drop my body armor and allow every cell in my body to breathe freely the essence of being. These are ordinary people writing these. Divine, sacred rest. It always reminds me I am planted in God, felt or not. It reminds me that I'm not a human doing, but a human being. So just be. Practicing to receive all the goodness I can. I have found a faithful God. Thomas said, contemplation, when fully developed, is the highest realization of science and religion. It is the science of love, which we know resonates with prayer is relationship. And when we're faithful to our prayer practice, relationship also then becomes prayer off the cushion. Transfers into all relationships, and that's the science of love. Love it or hate it, social media is a way to meet people where they are. And so that's a big experiment. And these are the numbers that are on different platforms. And thanks to Matt, he's the one that manages that for contemplative outreach. And it's another way that people feel connected, supported, and find us. Online programs, the Word of the Week, which is a weekly spiritual enrichment email that goes out every Sunday, and 2 live prayer groups. It's liturgically based, but also extends the teachings of Thomas Keating and other wisdom voices. And then online courses, which we've been doing as an experiment since 2008 with Spirituality in Practice, which is more ecumenical than contemplative outreach. So it also becomes an on-ramp for centering prayer practitioners. Typically 50% of the people who take our online courses have not heard of centering prayer, and this is their first course. So it becomes an on-ramp for learning more and practicing in community. We've done 22 courses, and we've reached over 17,000 people worldwide with that platform. So the centering prayer community is bigger than we can ever know. And it's small and intimate and local and personal. So I hope you feel and see that God is doing new things. And it's not over. God is doing new things within each one of us and as a community. 40 years is just a blink. So there's more to come. So we close with a prayer. May we consent more deeply to this transformative journey. May love radiate through us. May we be open to infinite possibilities. May yes be our daily practice. May we serve the whole. And may we remember that love never fails. Amen. I think we have a little bit of time, and there's a microphone down here, and I wondered if anyone had any comments or questions. And if you want to just raise your hand, I can also repeat the question so everyone can hear it, or the comment. You want to say something? Okay, good. Hey, Matt, can we have this on? It is? There we go.
Thank you, Pamela. It's now a good time to mention this.
You,
Thank you.
please.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to share in the spirit of new things that in a partnership with Contemplative Outreach, most notably through Pamela and through the servant leadership team, the Lectio Divina servant leadership team, we were able to work with the John Templeton's Foundation, World Charity Foundation, to put together a project that studies prayer, contemplative prayer, and specifically Lectio Divina. And so you may have seen this little flyer in your packet to connect with us. And so I would just encourage everybody to take a look at that, to connect with us while we're here. I'm Jesse Fox, and I'm the contact person that's on the back of this flyer here. And so we're really interested in connecting and broadening the connections with the Lectio Divina service team to engage with people who are practicing contemplative prayer and more specifically Lectio Divina as part of their daily practice. And so thank you for giving us an opportunity to connect with you here. We are hoping that through that, we do broaden the reach of people who are practicing contemplation through Lectio Divina. So thank you.
So Jesse is one of those people who just wrote in on the website.
That's right.
Just wrote in on the website with a project. So that's how it happens. Thank you. Anyone else have something to share or a question? Right over here, Chandra.
So my name is Chandra Hansen, and I'm just as of this year involved in the prison outreach service team with Contemplative Outreach. And also, as of this year, the executive director of the Prison Contemplative Fellowship. So there's a exciting partnership happening there. And one of the things that we're doing that is new is developing software. And I think Pamela will appreciate that I'm saying this, because normally what I say is, don't forget, God's also doing things new, not through technology. And there are lots of people in this world who don't have access to the internet in prison and in other places. So I have to get in that part too. But we are using technology to develop software to try to help reach those in prison who don't have access to the internet. And so we're developing this software called the Prison Outreach National Database. There's incredible isolation inside those walls, and there are incredible prayers inside those walls. We have some of them here. You'll have a chance to hear from them later, not in prison now, but I just ask that we keep in mind the non-technology connections that we have and in our organism. One of the things that I share in my group Inside the Walls always is the principle that we hold in contemplative outreach that says, by practicing the prayer, you're a member of this organism.
Mhm,
And that's so importantly true, whether they know it or not.
mhm.
So thank you.
Yes, and Kate, behind you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kate Sheehan Roach, and I've been working with the Gift Committee. I think we changed our name. We're like the committee formerly known as the Gift Committee, like Prince, or the Committee for Thomas Keating's Gift, something like that. But the idea, this was a group that, if you don't know, Thomas gathered together 5 people that would steward his teaching legacy. So we have some technology. Remember these things? This technology. This is technology. It's a book. Remember those? There are 5 books that Contemplative Outreach self-published over the past decade or so that most people didn't know about because they were only available on the website. So the Gift Committee has started publishing them with a small independent press. And so we've got 3 of the 5 ready to go. God is all in all, that we may be one, and heartfulness. There's still 2 more to come, and I've got some flyers that I'll circulate around so that you can access them. But speaking of things new, these are Father Thomas's teachings from the latter years of his life. And some of them are taken from speaking that he did. So you can imagine he was not holding back in that final decade. So as much as we love reading things that were written 30 and 40 years ago, we're hoping that these books will contribute to the whole of Thomas's legacy, understanding how he evolved and how we are still evolving. So thanks.
Thank you. This is, again, as I said at the beginning, this was only a tiny portion of the story. So this is how the story continues to unfold. Extensión Contemplativa Internacional. We have a group here. There's a whole huge amount of energy and movement in that community for Spanish and Portuguese speaking people. That could be a whole presentation in and of itself. And it will be, that's right. All right, I think it's time for a break. Thank you all so much.